Right, we be akwaba de aba sports arena so braso say yetena se na fe ye de agudie mu nsem de bro ye agudie mu nsem no kwa be for so obi diska e na chese ye guso ye de ma na this weekend there abena kuma woni ba me be di ye no adwo abeni kuma woni ba obi di abeni ankasa chese obi otwa bet bia di abeni because Manchester City se wo call no over 2.5 hwe wo call no winner hwe jese enya sem keto akra Man City destroy everything ade echi na Ajax obi a unya win wage league no Ajax tena fie me be born 3 one goal home goal kura want me anhye na nwumre na Victoria Gomares so finish agro no Chelsea Man U ne Spurs de obi anim se over wako anim o win na wonim se wako baby but sa teams we edi but ene matches wo ene o kase matches wo no ene wonim se Mondays there o sa yede ba no ya na e ka papa tie na ebe diska e classico koso Madrid for no dimrika she 2 goals obi anim se o afedi ebe yi passa for ebufu ya less than 30 minutes no mo finish adwuma no 5-3 and a game no end ya the DNA call right then a call we bro me no ka say Xabi Alonso done deal so kwa ko fa Real Madrid team we Xabi Alonso eno mo hia no ye bedi hu nkomo ene abedwafo na afi ye beba fie Asante Kotoko atumi abɔ mu FA Cup final on Golden Cakes ena eba abɛbɔ obi se fala ebi mu se da ebi esida FC na ne achi Kotoko mafia Kotoko nya asem keto akra ye be mu na bibi anso atumi akoye Chelsea the Blues Nicolas Jackson trended for all the wrong reasons Chelsea nya bobo ni fa wiem na akwa no oteso na striker ye the ball for wiem na oteso obey dan bobo akwa ni amanfo se Chelsea team no kwada fo mompam no esansa akwa no se team na ntumi an qualify ya ono a because in the game especially in the second half Chelsea ball obebo in sanka Chelsea ball with 10-11 men na dodo na nim sanka Chelsea benya bebe because Newcastle for no omo ball no first 15 minutes omo bo wie na no ano no 10 against 11 Chelsea dominated game no create decent chance but but 10 against 11 at this level ayana edin pa Chelsea lose painfully but Nottingham Forest was anko share Leicester City nanka utumi LA Frog Chelsea any Aston Villa ono so ball draw nti ono the other 7th na ne results na kire say enye din obebo Europe but as to say obebo conference Europa na Champions League no too matches na aka no na ebe kire Newcastle ebebo Arsenal next game Chelsea bebo Man United next game home Newcastle be away Man City ebebo home on Bournemouth Aston Villa any Tottenham Hotspur and a Newcastle Bobo ko efreno Nottingham Forest be away to Crystal Palace by Crystal Palace Man City omo FA Cup this weekend FA Cup final this weekend inti die woman no ye be rattle for them dynamics in it Italian Serie A Napoli tena fie ama Bobo ko efreno Genoa o hye no mate sa 2-2 say me no kase point na be only 1 point meanwhile Inter Milan so che Bobo ko efreno Torino ne ho adwuma ma bibia tumi de ekoye no we any games are and etumi course so over the weekend Strasbourg so come and gay ekoko share no nyasem keto akra ponani super ma no say yes Nti last round of games na be kire when e be wura top 4 nim ene ade na afi bibia so etumi akoye. You know ka say Marseille de omo buki omo ticket aka other teams na aka no. Nti next weekend no mo last round of games. Ti yedemu empopo ye na here ebe bro. Oko Diama Bundesliga Dortmund person bo Champions League. Omo ko Leverkusen home after conceding the first goal. Omo ba betete ball Leverkusen 4-2. Honoma asaka team winner ehu hia. First half na within 11 minutes na nkofo na share 4. Obi asa victory na ehu hia. Because the ni hia they cash out nkofo no kofefe womo ton ho. Inti and also no results I there course. Be ba we ni esa so na Villarreal so ye dey we ni. American Classico na sem. Show na streaming live Street is watching and as ABN Radio 1 and I call YouTuber MYBET.AFRICA TV, MYBET.AFRICA TV. Now online here MYBET online radio, MYBET online radio. Join you wanna be to me kind Telegram account no Sports Arena Telegram na fi muko TikToker sports.arena.news we any the woman kakra no no. For me mama kwaba.
Yeah, listen.
Yeah, we can na bibia kama.
Yeah, nyame ado bibia e boko bibia dadin.
Yeah, money ma yenhwe my bet education kakra na fi yemhwe
Okay, so you call MYBET.AFRICA edim say omo na eba Ghana ha upe company abetimi etwa bet a udi bet na normal send o message so we discount mo bra beji a omo pe omo make sure so me bibia ma weekend mu e di week fufuro mu no kwan bia so abe fiscal mo platform we fiscal nti ene omo se yen try mo virtuals any omo casino games e wo mo platform no nti aviator bank run any other nice virtual games e wo ho a eno instant enya afi na wo twa ama 90 minutes aso nti wo de o register ya call platform na call virtuals ne casino a o bona na wo ji usika nti ansa na enwumre bedu de no wetimi afi scale mu edu MYBET.AFRICA nti se wutie mi a registration process ni very simple go www.mybet.africa top right corner obehu icon be a circle ni green umia so a registration wo a registration ni 3 steps per. The first step o phone number, mobile money number, send ya unya scanner na obetimi atwe ababeto mobile money so into mobile number ni we are the next thing o username obetimi use udin obetimi use nickname obetimi use edin bia but time bia me tufu so obetimi the number ba ko mienu account send e be man na unique amount. The next one your password obo password ni we are on be send no verification code now they are then verify our account to verify account ni we are lower bar no be virtuals or don't sa boss wa virtual games over 200 plus games ni na baby now betimi a try be aviator or bank run and a fruity beats other nice casino virtual games or how betimi a trying to instant cash the winning rate ni there 98% winning rate into ubon kwan bia so obefiska MYBET.AFRICA.
Right. Young share games no. Yeah, young games no.
Yes, I think weekend way games ni be echo so na teams ni be expect say nkom betimi enya good results etimi abo ma mo metimi enya that sporter no mu hia ewo mo qualifications and even so person ojele kra na ohia point here starting free Germany ohwe Germany with Bayern Leverkusen and Dortmund game course mbedi hu nkomo ase Dortmund na game ni hia Dortmund ye ese team friend Bayern Leverkusen ade intini se Dortmund no ohia point be available so betimi dia eden etimi dia akọ Champions League and etimi European sport oko Leverkusen no be enim say it will be a good game for Leverkusen because Xabi Alonso win any last home game or dija Leverkusen team no kwan they've been agreement course between ono any Leverkusen and Real Madrid send you betimi atoto nyama ye even to the extent so betimi ejina Real Madrid touchline no for omo first FIFA Club World Cup game. The fans no e work am in here from the start of the game on make sure say BBS omo can omo de bona baso send wetimi abom winning their first league title for them. Asa and just winning the first league title but ko unbeaten no. Ade ba ko otimi ye e de boam. It was a good game for Dortmund even though so omo call a go down omo ba ebeti ye etimi hwe so mbetimi aiden atoto nyama ye ba de ba ko a manage your game ni mu ye Leverkusen fans no. You say there are sometimes as a manager and a player be free club akọ maybe club for fans no omo bebefu na kasa ne nyama ehu hia but omo born abaso from them even those who lose game ne kran after the game mutimu say omo train ko omo oni omo di nkomo omo born omo ye bibia so mutimi ye digya ne kwan na enei okọ Real Madrid omo nim say eden maybe in the Champions League or in any other competition so betimi share me gidi say so be returning as a coach from a different side to Leverkusen and obeba Germany omo did the same abaso body ne be share Dortmund win we wow because you see an omo da fit position just 1 point behind team a friend Freiburg and na we Bundesliga na aka one game nti that last game ebe koso no a crucial game Emma Dortmund ye papa especially going into a week onim se Freiburg and Frankfurt and ebebo no Dortmund se Freiburg Asia Frankfurt only hosting Kiev I name say this season no on ho training in the first league on any boy so it will be a very good game for team friend Dortmund and pie na say Frankfurt waiting me on no position or no so intime win game na against Freiburg obetimi drop it out of the European competition interne a crucial game Emma Freiburg Dortmund any Frankfurt say kwan bia so no performance in their last game no on betimi abom modern but it was a 4-2 win for team my friend Dortmund any abom in their top 4 race on betimi abom modern Bayern Munich enso etimi winning the first trophy after we Leverkusen ebe shame yenim say there've been some times oji Bundesliga ne to so about Leverkusen helm last season last season Bayern Munich Pomunsa entimi anke any trophy. Beckham has said it was a game say investors say ko mu hwe mu ye because Bayern Munich has nothing to lose. Obe na dream say obeko into the game on fa ahoodin bebre enshim but they went on and won 2-0. The be ball ma so playing at home and winning a trophy. Harry Kane etimi anya first trophy ye who players beat say Eric Dyer, Michael Olise Muna winning their trophy and now player friend Thomas Muller ending the season with Bayern Munich with a trophy at the back wa ebna neni agiye pa hwe omu win trophies and end be any there omu di dware omu sa antinundra. It was a good game on Saturday. It was a good game for Bayern Munich winning at home and also winning the Bundesliga. Omu hwe say next season they will do 1 or 2 additions to make sure say league no on betima jeja to so now also that Champions League if I miss your match no on the next season on with the inclusions Vincent Company in Brantiano a betimi Raymond betimi age with Italy title race ni mo ababe the year pa with obi enim say na Inter Milan Champions League ni di omunya into Champions League no metimi do the final now no concentration now league omni Torino who line up at Inter Milan a parody in this game they missed out a lot of some of their key players up front and they changed their formation for the first time this season. And who said this time they played with a 4-3 like a 3-4-3 or a 3-4-2-1 formation and who say Inter time ball. But it was a good who share their gameplay, the way they possess the ball against team friend Torino. Me can say team waha Inter Milan this season for the first round there Torino. On Inter Milan ball 3-2 and Mponi was the last crucial goal in the ball Inter Milan. So this game Napoli fans in our so beat me as Inter Milan the same pressure. But I think Torino sending minimum with their pace in the league, sending mutimi your ball against the top sides no. Or mean to me and with Inter Milan getting that first goal in the first half, no being inside the done deal. But in the second half, for mutim benya penalty, etimbuoma that 3 crucial points with chances of creating. I was thinking say they should have scored at least 2 or more. But mutiminya 2 goals and now with the latter stage of the season, I didn't hear the 3 points goals in there and time kind be bring to Napoli. Who Inter Milan results neso timi born home modern to make sure say bibia betimi akoye. I think Antonio Conte in Brante me kan ha say anytime they get a goal so in the first half omutimi she 1-0 omo de bepon uje den enom de bepon with Lukaku getting that goal but during the last minutes of the first half no it was an own goal from their goalkeeper, a deflection a ball na omutimi nya an equalizer and they came in to score. After scoring, now Timu said, Bibia and Koye, my team, a friend in Genoa, a lot of changes to try and salvage that 1 point. Omono points, that 1 point, no. Onya, and no one find Yeshi, or no, so we need 3 no find Yeshi because the league table, no, the 13th position. Onya's our points is all the baby, but with that is the thing that those leagues, the Italian Serie A, the EPL near there because team never points in Yeshi Krana. With they come in and play, be so competitive, say obetimi put up some results, obetimi ama the fans ni aje, and the game ended in 2-2, which ene ama the Serie A title na ba be den ye pam. Osha aka 2 games. With the 2 games left, just 1 point between Team FN and Napoli, any Team FN Inter Milan. Now so option Napoli games aka obebo Parma, no abo Cagliari. These are good games for Napoli, especially Parma away. One thing this season, or need Parma or lose war away against Parma. And anytime you obeko Parma home, no, it's either said there are more goals coming in and Napoli are winning. Or the Cagliari, so something good, Ebema Napoli, it means a good result. In the conform po kase, with those 2 fixtures na kana, it's likely say Napoli ebetimi aje the Scudetto. Uhwe Inter Milan oni Lazio, which is a very difficult game. Lazio also uhwe European sport. And na oni Como. These are 2 tough teams that they are on top form. Como form na no ayedin. And if Fabregas say if at the end of the season, maybe you bet me if you are. So these are 2 tough games for Inter Milan. Omanye lucky. Now they need Napoli to at least draw a game or lose. With Napoli 2 games now can quite be Arsenal. Napoli may pick that 6 points, and Inter Milan. So to me pick on also the 6 points against Lazio and Como. Still on to me we are that top position in team in the Scudetto. Intino. And you say you have 2 games na we na team I friend Napoli with Antonio Conte, Romelu Lukaku coming in on betimi aje that Scudetto now to be Antonio Conte successful season. He's one coach about winning league titles. He's one of the serial winners of betimi aje amount. Yenhwe Spain the El Clasico course. So it was a good game. No being him said this game would be a difficult game, especially for both sides. Real Madrid next winning. Owinia meaning say on Wednesday obedi kan Abanza Barcelona. And so we need that was our classical note to me we need Wednesday. It puts them ahead of Barcelona on the league log. Almost 30 game ni year with a 2-0 Kylian Mbappe getting that penalty and scoring, and a Vinicius and so assisting and getting that goal. But this season I did back me who El Carlo Ancelotti game when say when Real Madrid started the game no more of the route 1 type of football. Born kopie kotoa why am starting free echi. Born long because Barca fu opinion with the high line. Into born long and no fight for the second boss. I so beat me up possess ball from the middle of the pitch. Say no beat me the real Barca half than starting because Barca this season so can team press in the final third omo kan into no person mo avoid this idea na team did the first 2 goals it me by after Madrid nya those 2 goals in the 14 minutes no. Now the idea means Ancelotti in a car sound. Now they were trying to start the ball from the back, which now Barca for a lot of pressure at home. So with Barca getting that goal in Eric Garcia, who has been in 2 games, new team actually 2 goals, it has been something. Barca, the moment Barca did go back over to Watinimuno, there's a motivation said they can do it. I think they've gotten that courage from those Inter Milan games on mobile. So anytime they get a goal, there's a motivation to put the pressure and get that goal. You name himself with Real Madrid defensive line, Militao, Uniho, Rudiger, Eniho, Alaba, Eniho. So we saw a pairing of Asensio and Chouameni. It wasn't a good pairing for me, which Barcelona took advantage of it. Omutimi share 4 goals in the first half. And it's something I saw here Real Madrid against Barcelona. Barcelona Arsenal in 4 games were conceded 17 goals. Barcelona about shot in against Real Madrid in those 4 games. About 76 shot against Real Madrid in just 4 games. And we shot saves are Courtois and Luni na within that period. Saves of 18. So meaning say Barcelona and Madrid there is a lot of pressure on Real Madrid team so. And in this season 4 times we share Barcelona in any competition. Barcelona team take advantage of them, which is something Carlo Ancelotti maybe can say we share Barcelona in El Clasico 20 times. A 10 we lose and 9 we win. So this game was a crucial game for him. Now in case we team we need to make sure say obetime equal that record of 10 wins 10 loss no. It me making sure say free Madrid at least sa history ni wo and we intimi anya about 11 losses against 9 wins. And they so free Real Madrid with the trophies awaje any bibia wayama Real Madrid team no. This is a classical this season against Barcelona. Barcelona team yo muye pa Hansi Flick ne mbranti and ball mo bono anwade Lamine Yamal every time bia Barcelona bebo game untimi ndi nkomo without no mentioning his name. and wababe player be a key figure in this Barcelona setup. So Barcelona ebeye a comeback and contribution player be a contribution to leading today coming back in a game so from the first 10-15 minutes he wasn't seeing the game that well, but with 1 or 2 touches any send to me the gameplay with 1 or 2 dribbles it me key passes be a game no and it me aboama Barcelona team na koye and they are having a young team winning 4-3 against Real Madrid as a result if they are to win the league and they can do a dear friend said the domestic treble so and they Carlo Ancelotti ebe free Real Madrid. So the next coach coming in Juma Bebre and also said they need to make sure says dominance at Barcelona dominate you this season, next season intimate to us and also to me 1 or 2 changes. I think Hansi Flick and then Brand here Baso coming into this Barcelona setup no being him say with the previous Germany coach no nyama nkoye with young players into coming into this Barcelona team with young players and nyama ebe den nkoye mano, but he has been able to set up and make sure say Barcelona team are dominating the Spanish competitions every trophy available in Spain with timi obetimi agia ye dia basobody and ebeman with the EPL a top title race so me can has Friday say City ni Southampton in the first round City eshen 1-0 or limited City to just 1 goal. Emma make her say is one thing Southampton see a team bia this season obetimi ha City adwen as our team and in the second leg home ground that is the St. Mary's Stadium now at DSS Southampton ye more fans say yes ye call relegation ye call championship but these are few games see it me my fans na den omenije intino because in the EPL teams now call relegation and our teams for points in yehwe no yiri omukra boss omo hia points no because they want to make a statement, because they want to make their home fans or away fans or maba to that particular game no feel say season na nkoyi. But those crucial games Abema fans no high excitement they say we can come back to the Premier League no they will do a 0-0 against Manchester City.
Actually they wanted a point
to break that Derby County record.
Derby County said they are the worst team.
Omo concede 64 goals and omo nya 11 points. It's a Southampton it might break it with just a point.
So they don't want to be known as that, so and also can motivate you.
Yes, but a game against Manchester City was, I think every investor, every bookmaker would know say City ain't me City win was something likely to happen. But they were able to limit Manchester City expected goals. Man City were supposed to score at least 2 goals on the day. Ball possession, City ball 72 against 28. Total shots, City ball 26 shots. Shot on target, City near 5. So they were able to limit City to less shot on target. Man City and create big chance in the game. And corners, 15 corners against 1. And I think on any day, me who a game 15 corners against 1. But there's something as Southampton were able to prove say yes, they are one team they can be able to hold this Manchester City team and make sure so this season the last time Opiki win was against Ipswich in February. 3-0 we lose to Bepem and now on the West Ham board draw wasani team a friend Manchester City board draw. The last 2 games are against Everton and what that crucial home game against Arsenal. In TNA enye mo said the Manchester City no obetim ni bia Arsenal it was St. Mary's Park. It will be a crucial game for team friend Southampton to at least say just 1 point above Derby County's West Premier League record, but they will be able to set a target making sure say they get a point from Manchester City and also from Arsenal. Aston Villa no be him say their game against Bournemouth home Bournemouth be how imagine but they were able to be clinical against a team like Bournemouth defensively they are solid. Oli Watkins, you say there've been a lot of rumors about him. Say he'll be free Aston Villa because form no and and also he's missing a lot of chances in the Champions League game against Paris Saint-Germain. He was limited to just 20 minutes in 2 league games and with Rashford pressure about so to be able to secure every point at Aston Villa here in this year's Premier League. Otiminya that crucial goal for them before the half timer. I think Bournemouth they go into games, and some games you expect them to get a draw or win, they go into those games and lose. And there are games I will expect to say they are not going to win, they go into those games and win, and they are also fighting for the European spot. The European spot is more than, because now if Crystal Palace are to win the FA Cup, automatically they will qualify for the Europa. Meaning, say the two teams that go Europa no Baku will drop into the Conference League, and they about a lot of pressure. I don't think Aston Villa per se had any to Chelsea last season. A bit too. They will be in the Europa spot. Now Crystal Palace about Beji. That is the FA Cup. Now drop you to the Conference League spot. With Sunday, there were crucial games. I know BRC say it could make a lot of changes in the top 5 race. That is Chelsea against Newcastle. And rumors conversations be about Enzo Maresca starting. No, why should he start Caicedo at right back? Because so Ocean Newcastle team now, they don't play the ball through the middle. They're more of a wing team, and they try to use the wings more. Any Nyama Bibi. But I think Newcastle, any Eddie Howe, he's one of the top England coaches out there right now. I didn't make us, and he said he goes into game and plan them well. Only Chelsea shared this season twice before this game. Now first game no, he went with a 4-3-3 and a Chelsea a share no. Their home game in the Carabao no, he went with the same lineup and no team winning 2-0. So this game he wanted to outsmart coach a friend Enzo Maresca. And if you want to outsmart Enzo Maresca will be in him say he wants his wingers to touch the line. And they about like a double 10 between Kopama and a friends and play a friend or Enzo Fernandez. In Newcastle went with a 3-back, which would drop into a 4-back when they are not without the ball. And it was a good thing for them, especially in the first 15 minutes. Chelsea rare to be able to possess the ball from the back, to be able to make sure say they get into those half spaces, and mostly the Kopama and Enzo Fernandez has been taken advantage of. I think in the first half, Enyama Nkuyama Chelsea till Nicolas Jackson red card, no Chelsea be who said now they are lost, especially going 1-0 down. Oche atmosphere at them Newcastle Stadium. Any so Oche Newcastle games pan away team no omu de omu shesoro nti no utie mu kwa players no monte. And that is one thing that they used to take advantage of the big teams are omu visit the Newcastle grounds. It was a crucial game for Enzo Maresca, Nicolas Jackson. And they may see the remaining 2 matches. No, I may say that is the first game of the season for next season. This is the similar thing to play a friend or Rhys James. The last time at Chelsea visited Newcastle, Rhys James a red card or no so a I think the Chelsea setup was good. Obi Obeka Enzo Maresca setup no was bad. Nibia Meka said the setup was good. The only thing I am missing was those half spaces at Chelsea. Double 10s need to occupy. Into now game you didn't see more of Enzo Fernandez doing more runs into those half spaces. Kopama's no more runs into those half spaces, and nothing limited Chelsea because with the 3 centre backs against Nicolas Jackson, we need that strength, we need that area ability to be able to fight them for the balls. At this red card, but I think it was a needless red card from Nicolas Jackson, and this is the second season in the Premier League. I think he needs to grow up, especially when it comes to decisions like this. Edu baby and himself as a player, you get frustrated in games. Send Anyama Bekono, Ofeliso with Maminko, some hard tackle, we never defender who say I'm also in the game. But Edu baby, you remember it's a game now, Ebono. VAR very important in this game. They come in to make sure say decisions are made right. And nothing a red card. But I think Enzo Maresca's second half approach was one of the best. It was one of the best because in the second half, say game no na yan control say Chelsea in the air 1 man down and you wouldn't notice. Chelsea were dominating the ball, making sure say the second balls they were picking it, they were possessing the ball so well. So if starts in the second half, Chelsea dominated the game with ball possession of 66% against Newcastle of 34%. And the only thing missing from the Chelsea setup, they say the Chelsea players are lacking that box presence. They are lacking that box present. Utimu say they possess the ball, but ball ni be do box ni no be any. And I was expecting the likes of Kopama and also Enzo Fernandez to be getting into the box. The only issue I had with Enzo Maresca's tactics and in the second half change was taking out Madueke. instead of taking out Enzo Fernandez. Because if you're one man down, you need players to do dribbles, you need players to make those final runs and make those final decisions. I think Madueke would add more to it than the Enzo Fernandez Edibeba. But he went into the game with that approach at Ambuano. And Untina, you could see say in the game they created a lot of chances in the second half. They got one big chance in the second half. They couldn't get any. And yet Nottingham Forest in Chelsea will drop out of the top 5. Nottingham Forest against Leicester. After Chelsea game, no BR said they can win. One thing at Nottingham Forest this season, anytime there is a chance for them to take an advantage of the teams ahead of them, no more fumble. And that has been something at M1 this season. Anytime there is a chance, so Betimia take advantage of maybe Chelsea lose, Aston Villa, Newcastle will be lose. Take advantage of it, no a fumble. It was a good result for Leicester. Leicester have been missing scoring goals for a longer time. And now in their last 2 games, so Betimia actually 4 goals.
They could have even won the game.
Yes,
actually.
Yes, they could have even won the game. I think now, there is less pressure on Van Nistelrooy, sorry, and then there is less pressure also on the players. So they are now playing good football compared to that time. Now they were feeling say relegation. Now they are playing the ball so well. After the game, you said there are a whole lot of rumors going on. A 2-2 result for Nottingham Forest gives them that European League spot. And in 29 years, they've not been able to get to that European League spot. Though said they are 2-time Champions League winners, but they've not been able to get into that spot. It was a crucial game for them. And performance on the night was also poor. After the game, you saw club Una AC Park and so and after the game there were rumors going around saying with Nuno Espirito Santo on the Juman tour, now there is no respect from the owner and in Nyama Bebre. And sometimes I always say this, sometimes sports pundits, especially Gary Neville, they rush in making comments about issues. Sometimes I think it takes the excitement out of the game. I didn't make us and say the owner will be share the game in real time. After the game, owner ne pitch. Remember, it's a pitch. Needs to know about it wasn't towards Nuno. So Oshe video now he came on the pitch. The idea was to bash the medical team. In the first place, say Osi pitch this wasn't something I feel say wasn't good. But his issue was we a friend is saying he came to bash the medical team. At the internet say I want a pry. No pry, or copimpo, no. Then the medical team cleared him to be able to play. And Nuno peso a change. Emma Jota Silva ebim. And Nuno would have made a change. No, he awoni the Jota Silva aba. But Omo clear and say the game he can still play. Into Nuntina last change anakano. Ne say Nuno no the another player being because he's looking at winning the game. Into after the change, now I won't buy into the game. Now if you don't cry, so he needs to come out. And now Nottingham Forest, I know here a win, have to play with 10 men against 11 players of Leicester City. And that was the reason I didn't tell Una Nisi Park because he felt that the medical team should have given the right information to the coach. Then that late substitution, we friends saying Henderson became now. A friend is saying Jota Silva and probably here won send on bet to our game so. But the last 10 minutes they played with 10 men against Leicester 11 men and they needed a 3 points to be able to get that Champions League spot. But there've been rumors and Nuno was the one even trying to tell him to move out from the pitch. No in Como. And that's something that went on. But I think sometimes we don't get to take our time on BBC visuals, any images concerning Inyamasi. I want to just go against whoever is at fault. The Liverpool Arsenal game was one game, and I think nobody was expecting anything crucial from it because Arsenal needed at least a draw to maintain their Champions League spot. Liverpool with a win, they will still be available to win their Premier League on their last game against Crystal Palace. It was a good game for team friend Liverpool with a strong lineup coming into the game. First half winning 2-0. Second half, I don't know, say now it was a drop in like trying to win the game. And when the Arsenal brand need to me by ebetiti 2 goals. But the most controversial moment of the day was Alexander-Arnold coming on. Liverpool fans no ebu no, which was something I think is very, very wrong. This is a player what club no for the lifetime now, making sure say he was that crucial player boy man Liverpool defeat Barcelona with that quick free kick, with that quick corner, and he has been a key point in this Liverpool team. They've been games we win 3 points, and so I'm on Metimiaje, that is the league title. And so he coming on, there were a lot of boos from him, and you could see from the players' demeanor say at the end of the game, Unyayempo Obesu, which is something I slot Ebeka after the game say Ebeko Sadia, meaning said the 2 remaining games he wouldn't allow Alexander-Arnold to play, which I think the Liverpool faithfuls, it was very poor from them. Though the player is leaving, and yes, maybe he's living on the aspect of say maybe Wabeje Mike any more Kasa, but he's leaving because there is maybe less motivation for him and he wants to try other things. It's normal. Say player be free club ni nyane papa de nyane mama de, he would like to also move on and achieve other things. And Alexander-Arnold in his interview I can't say he wants to win the Ballon d'Or, and if he wants to win the Ballon d'Or he needs to challenge himself and make sure say he does things right. Into with that approach, it was something I was very poor, and I think say with me say I slot bit me the last 2 games for Liverpool he should just put him on the bench and not allow him to play. Senya bit me that good feeling towards any new club he'll be signing out for.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. At least to my mention here for him. I think that we can do the City honey papa to be very honest. Say City game no. Because that game me catch money man say listo. Me catch money man say I fear say Saddam to meet me a hanipa. But at least I was expecting over 0.5 a goal. Just a goal in that game. And I mean sometimes you bit my do be yeah. That's what you bafa. I mean over the weekend there and yet Ghana Music Awards this kaka go as fucking promise to win Artist of the Year. Can you pay nyaka fan and so I mean this week I mean that is just by the way. Listo. My man started with Carlo Ancelotti. Right now I confirmed say he's going to be the Brazil national team coach. And in football no, there is something I ever know. The transfer cycle and a cycle. Obi ko baby no be replace, obi no be super replace obi. And I think that the Ancelotti family might be happy, and also Real Madrid is bit me happy to get some money to also go and train some of the coaches in the near future. If Opanyi bit Xabi Alonso, I confirmed also about Real Madrid if he's leaving. Never bit Marco Enra. Xabi Alonso before a home game of boy, he confirmed that he's leaving the club at the end of the season. And Carlo Ancelotti so him say I mean reports by saying Connie Brazil were bad because of the transfer issues and some of the agreement they have to do some amendments. Asana opinion be accepted. I mean used to opinion the Carlo Ancelotti or having 2 spells with team and then Real Madrid. And in fact sometime he came in 2013 and 2015 with free haul, and that year, the first stint with Real Madrid, he won the Champions League, won the Copa del Rey, the UEFA Super Cup, and FIFA Club World Cup. On the first year with Real Madrid, he only failed to win the Spanish La Liga, and then the second spell on the list was Waji de La Liga, Waji de Super Copa Hispana, La Liga and Waji 2 times, Waji Copa del Rey once, the Super Cup was Spain, Waji 2, Champions League, FIFA Club World Cup, and the UEFA Super Cup. So in all 12 trophies and our German Real Madrid. In fact, he will go down as one of the best coaches to ever manage a Real Madrid. In fact, last season, was a season he was expecting say and Kobe a trophy. I think Madrid they got trophyless this season because the Super Cup they lost it to Barcelona, Copa del Rey Ayeka, and La Liga Ayeka, Champions League Ayeka, and Madrid for no. To be very honest, but some of us knew that the Mbappe inclusion and not making any serious signings, and also the injuries are setting up in the team. They affect them. In fact, we catch them say, I don't see say there will be a better replacement for Toni Kroos and Luka Modric. And I mentioned say Jude Bellingham goes now any assist not shared last season. No? It shouldn't be something that it will be a long term for Real Madrid midfield, because Bellingham, as we all know, he is that typical number 8 box to box midfielders now. They have a very good runs into the box. So with the role of ball Bellingham last season with Jose Lonu was a system a Madrid all rounds, and that very season they had Luka Modric, who was also splitting in their passes, and Camavinga, Tchouaméni and Valverde were doing the dirty works for them. But right now, different setup, few inclusions into the team are never be bringing so affect them. I think that Xabi Alonso Balisto and I think that especially one signing a very very good, very important for Xabi Alonso and Trent Alexander-Arnold likely so Kwakwa join him. I mean, Enanya confirmed that, but looks reporting just say when Madrid will be they are just waiting for the season to end. Now Madrid are making announcement, you know. Obacheke Alonso career when he started with Bayern Leverkusen. One of the key major aspects when he game, you know, apart from sober pressing or a possessive oriented coach or ball counter pressing, one of the main aspects here Xabi Alonso and the flanks. Into Asia, in over 3 years at Leverkusen, who is Florian Wirtz, who is the centerpiece, who is the creator in the team, and maybe Victor Boniface, who is the scorer in the team. They are two players. They are the most important players in the setup. In fact, who check your team sheet now? They are the two players mostly on the team sheet, which is the Alex Grimaldo, the left wing back player, and the Jeremy Frimpong, also the right wing position. They create the chances if they will attack well from these players, if they will defend well from these players. And I think that Arnold will be a better right back for them, even if you're best set up with that 3-back system. Offensively, Arnold will be very key for them. In fact, they are missing that player list to obey about that progressive passes, that final third passes, and their players are running. Since Toni Kroos free, there are only 2 players who are closer to Toni Kroos' attributes in the game for the past 3 years. One, Abrante Trent Alexander-Arnold, and the Chelsea midfielder Enzo Fernandez. So it was something that they were missing in the game. So time now Alonso, how he can fit into this Real Madrid setup. Is the 3-back going to be okay for them? Or about 3-back now? Why not be sacrificing? Does it mean that we are going to sacrifice Valverde or Camavinga and Tchouaméni and now say even the upfront? You know, right now it's obvious that Ada Goulet is going to be part of the project. That left wing position and that number 10 position, he's going to occupy that position. Right now, how are they going to set up under opinion team Xabi Alonso if confirmed officially? But now they are Chelonti joining Brazil as the first international coach and a first foreign coach or coach Brazil team. Brazil of late they have the men. In fact, Ochaki we are seeing football this year. Rafinha, one of the leading candidates for the Ballon d'Or this season, player. They have Vinicius Junior, they have Rodrigo. In fact, they have a lot of players or the Premier League, the Portuguese League, any other league. So I think that with Carlo Ancelotti, he's a Serie A winner, he's a coach that I think that the pedigree and the level we're doing football, no other player in the Brazilian national team to me overshadowed in the dressing room. He's the man to lead the Galacticos of squad for the Brazilian national team. Right now, reporting say with Xabi Alonso leaving, Bayern Leverkusen wants Cesc Fabregas to be the main coach, and if Fabregas equals to and they come for the money at Real Madrid, Ancelotti, Davide Ancelotti, and I say Abrante and the Alvaro Abaloa, who is the juvenile coach for Real Madrid, and then the Real Madrid for coach, assistant coach, Ancelotti Bano assistant coach. You know, he will not only the Papachi and co Spain. He also wants to either on one Barella, Alvaro Barella, Mubako, Ebetimi, Ababe Kochi, Como. Now into the weekend games. I think that listo, yeah, we can say a very nice game. My man started with the Premier League, results, then now made the Air Clasico then, but finally, Bayern Munich for team champion, team the trophy that is for the a plate. Still people are saying that Hurricane trophy or nye cup a plate. I think that finally they've won something, and Vincent Company future and Listo. And confirmed that Vincent Company will stay or he will not stay. But then I think that he's done very well, especially winning the Bundesliga is a news be bad. You how Bayern Leverkusen Ebeji league in the last season. The pressure coming to this season. Dortmund making a lot of signings and they also failed. Coach, Luis Sahin, Mo best year. Things didn't go well, but I mean it's quite good. Say finally he won something, and if the board wants to keep him out, there should be a lot of signings, improvements there. But likely that they might get Florian Wirtz, who also come and compete with that Jamal Musiala and these young exciting players. If they are able to make the right signings and also buy defensive, I think that whatever Vincent Company is trying to do, they might get up and also win the league. Listo, and then the race for the Champions League spot, are very tough. England right now, their teams are Bima 4 games, Ebim 5 games. To be very honest, check it. The last games are aka for some teams especially with Chelsea like this. Chelsea will play United in the next game. Then after the United game at Chelsea, they also go and play team at the Nottingham Forest. The only game in the top 4 race, I'll be bought a lot of games. So as I can check in on for matches into so mami. Yes, as I can match the remaining games are in the Premier League at Oswa. Now I think that City needs Southampton game. It was a game that maybe I thought maybe City for near under or more opponents and a man over the weekend. Me catch you say, especially playing against teams relegation I am very difficult because at that moment the players are showcasing individual brilliance, individual performance at that highest level. Into share game now, I say Southampton players individually how defend the way Southampton defended throughout the 90 minutes, making sure that all loose balls be dropping in the half spaces, they will clear. And you see Bednarek, Mo, Stevens, Mo, Howard, Mo, these are players they did very well. And they are players who are unknown that they also want to prove to the team, say, what do you mean by alone? No, if to be very honest, team no relegation, but I put in all for them to get the call up. Kamadin Suleiman mo, Deblemo, any Fernandez Mina players they would be happy if team is the Wolves more and other teams are also coming to buy them from Southampton from not joining them to the championship. So I think that it was a game that obvious that it was going to be a difficult game. But looking at Manchester City with the Champions League top 5 spots and how they are performing, in fact, to check it game now, they dominated the game in possession wise. They played 22 shots. 26 shots and just 2 shots per Southampton team boy, and the only shot on target on team boy was just 5. It means that they were very restful for the first time this season. And then the City about game when you more than 10 corners or no more than 10 corners. In fact, they had 15 corners. This is Manchester City, so it tells you how defensively well Southampton defense work here. Same thing so it happen here in the Italian Serie A. Especially Udinese name Monza. And no checking Monza listo. Or no, they are the league log. Or no, why we that he's the team or that. But yes, they were able to, win against Udinese. Udinese, odd KTB was on the same bet squad. So I think that the teams are already no macro relegation now. More faith, done. They are also a team playing against them are very difficult at that point. But I think that. The game back, of course, the Chelsea Newcastle game, Newcastle, a team to be very honest, Chelsea, Asian or bread. How physical they are, how they play, and I think that Chelsea lost 2-0. But let's look at the games. And Basha, I was happy that after the game, Romeo Lavia, the Betuja said, "It's on me. See you on Friday." That game now, born on president. If Enzo Fernandez was closer to him, maybe on chance 2 players I compare or bet me you may free press. Newcastle press very well in the early stages of the game. And how they are setting up because of say setting up if you are in possession, Caicedo will come into the middle and man. It's not about the lineup. Although how are you lining up and how the Newcastle also lining up. My game no changing in some moments of the game, but that goal on the share, we still had a chance and make a bit match. And idea affected and say we were not able to beat the press. We were not able to beat Omo press, and so we were finding it very difficult to, at least, especially a transition, to transition the ball from the phase 4. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 to phase 4 of attacker. Even the ball, the man, either Noni Madueke, Pedro Neto, and Brent and Nicholas Jackson. And I think that, to be very honest, Jackson costing so much. Anytime when he can say he's a player, he has the talent, but there's a lot of things that are lacking in this world football. When he can say he lacks a lot of things. But then, who check the game now? I remember the first 20 minutes in the game before I been a red card. He cautioned a year. Chaloba, any goalkeeper and say anytime you have a ball na baby, there's no player around. And also anytime you are Chelsea being attack, you be transition, there's no player in the box as well. So Kopama and even Enzo Fernandez, the double 8, double 10 position on ball, they didn't do well. They didn't have a very good game at all. In fact, the moment Krana Yeba second half, Omuyi Nicholas Jackson wasn't in the game. No, you now Kopama before 10. Anytime you are only mum drop it by ever ball. So Chelsea were lacking a lot of men in front of goal. And they affect when this Newcastle team now, boy, how they set up. Murphy was fantastic at that side. Now Modric and team contain, any pass beyond Bobiano, Harvey Barnes, Gordon and other players. So we needed players who were going to be good. Obiano number boot for boot, and the only player who was doing that at the first department of the game, Marco Correa, any Brandt and Eddie Moises Caicedo, and any team. So I think that the game plan, everything, how right. Chelsea didn't have the game right, especially playing at St James Park, one of the difficult grounds at Chelsea. Right now the race for the top 4. No, so Ochake. The picture as Aka added to Suna. Aka Arsenal, all the 6 teams no list of 6 teams fighting for Air4 Sports. And then Northern Forest, it was a chance for them saying committee Miashe. I overtake Chelsea and Aston Villa, but the were not a team on an edge. It was a clear opportunity for them to leapfrog. They were leading not much all the teams of Pre City, Arsenal Freeman. They were leading all these teams behind with 12 or more points. And you can see how furious he is. But then aside from that, there are 2 crucial games to go. In as much as domestic or European sports, the least for them is that they are going to play in the Conference League. But if they can put in much effort, especially in their next games, or maybe European sports or the Champions League was. Right now, Arsenal played a 1-1 draw with Liverpool at Anfield. It was a game that I knew they were not going to win. Looking at how almost set it up and how a Liverpool support, I knew they were not going to win, but I was sensing a scoring draw in that game. Right now, Arsenal will play Newcastle, then they will play Southampton. These are the 2 games. Listo, with Arsenal, you look at the table, they have 68 points with 2 games to go. Right now, if they are able to get all the 6 maximum points, all the 6 maximum points are Aka to grab her. It means that they will go 74 points. Right now, let's look at Newcastle. I don't know that the 3rd position. Newcastle also play 2 games. Newcastle 66 points. If Newcastle is with me winning the next 6 games, Nina, also the next 2 games now, I'll 72 points. With Manchester City, also with me winning the next 2 games, he also go 74 points. And Chelsea 63 points. If also with me winning next 2 games Nina or grab the 6 points on 69 points. So it means that Arsenal they are guaranteed the Champions League position. Because in fact, say if Omunya 1 point out of the possible 6 nakana, they are guaranteed a Champions League because we check here Chelsea, Aston Villa, Nottingham Forest, all these teams games Nina na Arsenal a point or 2 from the possible 6 it means that it's easy for them, and in fact they might even lose their next game against Newcastle, but if they do not even pick a point against Southampton, they'll still be guaranteed a spot in the Champions League, same as Manchester City. Also, if they are able to get at least 4 points from the possible 6 now, they are also guaranteed a Champions League spot. 4. So they should make sure say at least because check here, they have 65 points, leading Chelsea and Aston Villa 2. So it means that when you have 4 points, that 2 points now be dropping, and these two teams in our reunion mode, you leave City actually more goals than both Aston Villa, Chelsea, and even Nottingham Forest. So getting 4 out of the possible 6, City will be eligible and also be a spot in the Champions League right now. Baby, akwa dini pa. Chelsea, Aston Villa, Nottingham Forest. Right now, Newcastle, listo, about Arsenal, no about Everton. 2 crucial games. Manika say if Arsenal are able to pick a point from the last 6 games or 2, and it means that Newcastle game another game also on Super. Newcastle was 66 points, almost maybe more than very good with 66 points going with 66 points. If they're able to get the possible 6, it means that they also move to 72. Right now, Aston Villa and Chelsea and Nottingham Forest, these 2 teams, even if Omunya the maximum 6 points they will still be 69. Right now it's Newcastle for they need just 4 points out of the 3 points, even if they can even do that. So Omunya,
out of what?
Out of the 6 points now.
Okay.
And I say if they are able to get even 3 out of the 4 points now, they will move to 69.
Out of 6.
Out of 6, they will move to 69, which means that goals will determine either they will be ahead of Chelsea and Aston Villa or even Nottingham Forest. That is if Chelsea and Aston Villa win on the next 2 games on the bonus. So with Newcastle, that win against Chelsea was very crucial. It was crucial for them, and just 3 points. And that 3 points more goals. In fact, check the league table. They've scored more goals than Chelsea. They've even scored more goals than Manchester City and even Nottingham Forest. But then Omar consider more, and yes, still the goal difference. They are ahead of all these teams. So I think that Newcastle. So one team, I think that they will be ahead of Manchester City, Chelsea, and Aston Villa in that pecking order. Adia, everybody sits in the list. Man City is going to play against Bournemouth at home Etihad, which makes it very difficult for Bournemouth to go and score them. But this is football, especially at Etihad, they have a higher chance, especially 85 higher possibility chance of winning that game. But their next game against Fulham, another opposition, they have a very good record at, and also they are beating Bournemouth. Right now, Chelsea Bebo United, no about Nottingham Forest, 2 big games. In fact, to be very honest, how Man United is playing, I don't expect Chelsea to even score United just a single goal. United team no listo. They say and akwa say Ruben Amorim no listo. Adi abehan say in the Premier League you need to have plan A, plan B, plan C. Meaning the last money man can say Adi bakwa ope about Maresca hone say he can change how he wants to set up at, especially according to some of the teams so sure. And in the Premier League, one yes ubebre. Apart from the intensity, the speed no, but then the 3 back system list to akwa say your bobo na dogu ain't me and for born running. Ahmad ain't me na Fernandez ya. Na say no untimi twist system no. Untimi ni bibia, so they are struggling, especially in the Premier League. In the how many West Ham boy na. West Ham knew how definitely they are going to play, and they played according to that. And United couldn't even stop them. 40 passes in the midfield. Omunya pe, let's tag them in the midfield. Nyabo pe, young Franco. The only player already dangerous almost to be Bruno Fernandes. And if Bruno is not having a very good day, the team seems to be in shambles. So with this pressure about Chelsea, so a United coming to Stamford Bridge, I don't see that United will be able to salvage a point. In fact, whenever United Asia Chelsea listo, I need a different ball game altogether. But at this crucial stage, how United are playing, especially Ucheki your mother, is going to be the worst ever season. In over 50 years ago, that is 1974, United called relegation. A very low ranking in the Premier League this season. It's very bad. In fact, even Crampono, the Europa League saying from next 2 games, he might even be able to start resting some of the players because yes, me say if I was Ruben Amorim, I won't be risking Bruno Fernandes, who is the jewel in the team. To see me, I make an Ebiana Abrofono, Omunisa operations because listen to say a local league be like a boy me Enzo Maresca. I don't want to sound unprofessional, but then one of the games coaches in here. If I'm me a player be me your coach and me Enzo Maresca me say me Conference League. I won't play in the Champions League. But if United are able to win the Europa League, they will leapfrog me and play the Champions. Same as last season, Omoji FA Cup, or me free my main Conference League, man co group stages so me ball playoffs, which was very bad. Mini United go bar. Hey, Bruno Fernandes first team is Mumpran in free game. Because one day they join in the team. Or prefer game anymore. In the Europa League, I don't think United can win the Europa League without Bruno Fernandes.
I think naturally the player himself. That's the reason why, if you look at their performance in the Europa League, now Ocean League, West Ham is by far the worst team.
Yeah.
So we get last
the three teams don't go relegation.
But it is clear, sir. Football, with motivation, the nature of the game brings how you are going to what you play an ankasa. That is why I say, where Paris Saint-Germain, for instance, say Paris Saint-Germain, the team of the region, if Paris Saint-Germain he had 3 points, why any OJC needs or Paris Saint-Germain home, I will send a 3-1. Even though about the same players, no, the years nothing, the same team, no boy, but the motivation, I play and I also win your self motivation, any commitment, will not be there. So you don't necessarily have to even say you are going to hurt anybody. And once make sure you take the game to them, like any Liverpool, for instance, Chelsea, any Liverpool. If Liverpool here 3 points if Chelsea war at the league, are you sure, say? And come out boss abo no mo there.
Yeah.
Boy no. So I think that would be the defining factor. But I go probably now
it was as someone American say even if Senka the Chelsea coaches or any ABC, but if I was the coach, listen because the Europa League are United. Still it's Bruno Fernandes who has kept them going. 7 goals, 5 assists in 13 games.
Okay.
And all among games are winning now. Someone in Rebecca, I say they are trailing by maybe 2 goals. No, my best, ni goals no aba. I don't be assist no mache. So whether they win in the Europa League, ni nasa su Bruno Fernandes. But what I'm saying is, this crucial stage, Ruben Amorim will also be thinking about the Champions League because the Europa League, because that is the most important thing left this season. There's nothing special about United team in this season. Nothing special. Say Bebo League we, na ye team some relegation. Say tricky people say 4 teams they go relegation, United go relegation, which is very bad. So what's the mechanism? So listen, they don't have it, they are not fighting for anything. The only thing they are fighting for is the Europa League. And if Chelsea players fail to Enzo Maresca fail to score this United team, all the players they are failures. And you see, Jackson, if Chelsea doesn't qualify for the Champions League, the future at Chelsea will be some way.
Yes, some way. They will let him go.
And American, yes, the future will be some way. Both apart from the hierarchy like this. I'm found some do be Cologne or Strasbourg. Now I'm going to find Emmanuel Meganaba because this is
Vincent,
money man.
Chelsea any Everton. And yet the same Nicolas Jackson and match Chelsea near 3 points.
I'm not listen. You see,
their games are
money man.
Their games
football
are their games are the player wouldn't be how you want him to be.
No,
their games are.
Andra,
what I'm saying,
the reputation.
Yes,
the reputation. If Chelsea doesn't make the top 4, will be because
there will be a lot of abuse.
He's very crucial to the way we play.
Yes,
okay.
Because as we speak, there is no striker.
So missing him quite crucial.
Missing him.
So
for and you see, and yes, a unfortunate red card.
Yes,
this is a deliberate thing.
Yes,
he's been doing in games.
Listen, after the game, there were some of the Chelsea fans. I know who posted the Tottenham game via Romeo Lavia, and especially Mikai, man, as you see, Jackson, the Nidia,
And you see, that was me the first time.
Before because me game no. Long was they were bullying him. Referee ninja foul.
That referee ninja foul.
Say related to Sir Jackson. Related to Sir Jackson where it goes above Jackson.
No,
maybe say a problem at one.
That is the reason why I say
you should blame one. You should blame Enzo Maresca.
I said this. Maresca, you see, conversation actually.
No, against in the game
now, blame Enzo.
Is it about the red card and
the red card? BBR.
Yes, but what? Medical I will blame them if they don't qualify.
If they don't qualify.
Yes, I will blame the entire team. They are failures.
But the reputation of
that particular
crucial
game no. So Ubi Bisam say if we Jackson red card, who we are to blame her? If say person is stretchy there,
that was needless from Nicholas Jackson.
Newcastle started game no. Newcastle best started game. Vincent Mini didn't come after the game. Newcastle best started game no. Omo warm up section ni BBR show said they were coming to play a 4-back. Omo share that. So during the game, no switch it to a 3-back. As a coach, within the first 10 minutes, me who the way Newcastle set it up. And the way Newcastle set it up, it was to block Madueke and Pedro Neto from playing.
So blocking Madueke, how does it affect the red card?
How does it affect the red card?
Let me explain, you know. Now, as they were blocking those two, not in fin press, you know. Sanchez was now forced to now kick the ball. It is a commentator Nipo can say this is the Chelsea game. I won't say Sanchez now ball now. Obosim
I mentioned that.
After that, you know, Jackson complaining of presence in the box. Yes,
he did.
Maybe so Jackson are complaining of presence in the box. As the head coach, the next decision on the pitch, he said,
and then say also player
Enzo Fernandez, Cole Palmer needs to get into the box more.
There be no. You are talking about different
conversation. I've mentioned Marcus as the moon.
Chelsea and qualified Champions League now.
He will be blamed.
I'm talking about our only player reputation to continue at Chelsea and say they came anytime. The reason why anytime I'm saying Jackson when he came to Chelsea, used to. Anytime you make Jackson story, be make sure say this player. So in 5 years,
Jackson
he will be untouchable.
Jackson in the Chelsea setup,
yes.
But during this game, the game never to play about. So do you know?
Listen.
Kopama ni Enzo Fernandez boy.
Whatever has happened.
Coach, Coach, double tens. They don't get into the box.
You are not getting what has
that to do with the red card?
What I'm saying is,
it was needless. You see, overall,
teams are winning games. Chelsea are winning Barcelona, prime Barcelona with a red card.
You don't get me. I'm not talking about the red card. My free game aspect, we lost the game tactically. Many guys are right from the onset, and you lose the game, no. And especially so you go against Newcastle, that physicality, no, high into me. You lose the game, no. Nicholas Jackson, Medical can say the reason why only a red card is but the thing is, can Jackson future at Chelsea? Right now, we are going to miss him, whether we like it or not. And
how are you going to miss Jackson?
We are going to miss him this season. I am clear that
Jackson from free time or free injury by 2025. How many goals no actually?
It's not about the goals. It's about how I
yes. Last time we addressed this same issue, no. A player who is not contributing to goals, a player who is contributing to making runs and stretching the pitch for you.
Stretch. The thing is, Jackson
every time say, then Enzo Maresca has a problem.
Yes, that's what we say. Chelsea problem was. I know they have a problem.
And problem with the Chelsea team. Chelsea problem with Enzo Maresca.
The thing is, there's no better striker in the Chelsea setup.
How many teams now bought Premier Liverpool bought Premier League way? They've been games. How many games now? Darwin Núñez and Diego Jota started at Liverpool. But they've been winning.
It's not going to work. Diego Jota, that number 9 role. He's making saying, oh yeah. I said, oh, you're familiar to that role. But even under
how many games
club, but the thing is, when Chelsea started Pedro Neto, you will say Pedro Neto or bought that for us and Samsung bought in baby.
No,
right from what I'm mentioning conversation also.
Chelsea team no have been built by Enzo Maresca in a way say the players no. Especially in the wingers getting into the box.
Yes, I don't know another matter for another day.
Now, you say they have been they've been complaints of identity regime symbol. because that midfield partnership between Caicedo and Lavia.
Now no be I fit no. Obo Rich James. Why explaining Sadio we say he needs to build the guy because of injury never. He is not fit and he also building. Endra Satama also building Rich James. Endra
Gusto can play the right back.
Gusto can play what right back?
Right back Gusto ntimi mbo.
Sa system now one any one share Liverpool. Any one share Everton. I didn't say eba I didn't ba obi anim say obi anim me ba obi coach no. Yenina enim the system now all before all ba Chelsea. Obi anim say the wingers enko box mu. That is why obo 2 number 10 sa.
And the 2 10
omo box mu. Omo box mu chances creation any goals number 10 first one
it's the same thing ama Enzo
Ashe more goals. So what are we talking about?
It's not enough. Maybe to as I say
what are we talking about?
Just that
you can't do a game no the first say Nicolas Jackson a prayer kakra. Everybody say we missed him
second half.
That is what we are talking about.
Yes sir. How
11 Chelsea 10 against 11.
Second half.
10 against 11.
Trust me.
Second half football game 2 sides. Eddie Howe
that Chelsea game now because against Madrid. Time na Chelsea nya red. What's wrong in the second half?
Barcelona no.
No,
first half John Terry.
It was second half.
There be first half 18 minutes
half John Terry.
But you see
no. But you see check how our Chelsea boy. How Chelsea the Chelsea dominate the game.
At that time
we couldn't dominate the game.
Our Champions League game no. One ultimate fan compare and drag.
This side
and no Chelsea got into the game with what? A 1-0 lead. It is boy na onya we no onim say o defend all them 9 men Sandra ye ko say yenye kwa defend na ya pedro a
ngebenya
akiyebe de yebenya ye match a ye hia victory and ye ko ye no emu ye din from the beginning and ye nyina say football uba e be the first 10 minutes and now at some point in the game you struggle ye struggle no eba earlier in the game and omo ye den ye de ball e che no mo share. We were in the game out of nothing. Ya pressing a player, ya pressing obiana keeper na den abo long. Se ball no ontimi mfa obianka say fa. Now don't say wabatwa akwa wo player. Listo. Ye nyina so nim say team no
Jackson say.
Team no. So what are you talking about?
Me Vincent Tiasi and say we shouldn't blame a player. Say Chelsea
no blame.
Two matches na kano. 2 matches na kano. Now Chelsea needs to gamble. To Sesenia, Nicolas Jackson prior we bebo
George Abona ni
we have
the moment our best statement say Chelsea needs to gamble those 2 games. Then meaning you don't have a head coach.
You don't have head coach in head here. Player number 1 in you one only before.
Who is Nicolas Jackson to Chelsea?
He's your number 1 striker. What are you talking about? Nicolas Jackson is not a Chelsea number 1 striker.
Enzo Fernandez, Enzo Maresca. Person catch said these 2 games without Nicolas Jackson, that's all gamble and he could lose. He needs to be sacked.
Said then.
Next time if you don't qualify, coaching need to mean a failure. But this what I think this will be a conversation for another day. But me then say Jackson
say player no number 1 striker.
What is his contribution in the game?
Where they on your number 1 striker?
So
are you saying say Jackson is Chelsea number 1 striker now?
There are players who can play.
Who is Chelsea number 1 striker? I didn't know who deny we. Is it not Chelsea number 1 striker? Is it not a starter? It is starter in new one.
Apart from Kopama in the team, our numbers is saying all the attacking players.
Why?
Who you Kopama Freeman? Jackson our numbers from saying all the attacking players.
Jackson our numbers saying
all the attacking players.
Premier League assembly account. We are talking about Premier League.
Who numbers saying Jackson?
Oh no, we no ahena.
This is in goes our
Conference League na ahena we abo.
So listen, what point I'm making is say me Uba Ghana and I we are here. Open top 2 Nicolas Jackson fans. Me number 2. But I didn't see no. Me here to the extent that if you don't qualify, the blames will go on him. You have a statistics in your first game and you have a ball. And I didn't have backlash in the if he's not strong. But me mean him so he play a he has that mentality. And next season, so when to me, these are some of the emotions Premier League game no. Red card, bones because Jackson getting cards, booking. Discipline issue from last season we've been talking about and I do yes if I know say if Chelsea don't qualify, people will blame him. And I know that so one mentality wise, one is strong, one coming back better from this. I think that the future na me picture man Jackson.
Striking role now onye but just say
open hard. Yes, it will be very hard for him.
How are you boy no? Open and out to me that come include. You know say in terms of running, say creating space near there, you do it best. The obi are complaining about Nicolas Jackson, the goal scoring, so obeshe more goal because you have more chances. But on normal team need take it. How the way the team want to play. And Endra, second half when Chelsea was dominating the game, you could clearly see say the presence what I say was missing. Ewo game nim. So what I say, it is say anu 2 games na aka. Now it was say Chelsea prepare different way of scoring without you. Adi o ma year pre-season o ma ya ba bedru ase no. In the middle of the season when the team was not taken, obia beka say Nicolas Jackson ni wono e affected him no. So if he is not there, the coach need to what? Find different solutions. It is a reckless red card one could na Chelsea losing match in the crana. Obia nim say you are there for the next 2 games. And the next 2 games much easier because United home. Other teams better than Ebekwa away. Obia nim say Newcastle away. Difficult grounds. Even Drogba more time it was difficult grounds to go. It is a corner command at the end year so difficult the man coach now you better na say coach ni you blaming because if say Nicolas Jackson you want to me for being shower. Obian him say you striker. Everybody knows a Chelsea has striker and the coach has said it. Say he needs a striker. But so far as window nim be you need to deal with what you have. And what we have, do we have anybody closer to Nicolas Jackson? Gui na ko no so betima ba bejan ono so pra nkuku na se we pra afi na oba no. So you need to gamble and that is the reckless idea wakwakoya obi aka won asem no. It is a qualify no be blaming Nicolas Jackson.
Vincent
nipa kro no den
we na say you don't start the Premier League not having plans.
Our plans without Endra
then
obi Maresca only plan start back no obo na nkwade no hu so any
Amorim you or tweak the system near there
sporting obo man you ntimi nya bi
otimi aha no Enzo Maresca
without Nicolas Jackson then
plan B without Nicolas Jackson now say Magui na den ebo.
That's it. When they
and we plan
available only then system
plan B. Are you saying say red card no on your plan B?
See as a coach, o plan A is to say who can plan informations. I mean say variations and now a different setup. We Amorim and say okay, me to match Amorim games. I walk into games with a different setup, a different plan. Otimibo Dogi from the normal left wing position. Otimibo other players from different positions. Enzo Maresca time be better na kasa say we say anytime we go into games missing out Nicolas Jackson, you see the team struggle. At the team say the formation is based on say number 10 would make the striker would make runs, just run and create space for others. See ano
it's one what team more running. E on the fault.
Enya the fault.
So why are you blaming
that
him?
is the reason enunti nya for say head coach.
It's on only there on one kasa anya we.
Chelsea team way. Now, mention Enzo Maresca woni trimu. He wants to find a way to play a 3 midfield of Enzo Fernandez, Caicedo, and Lavia. Enunti na ni ehu. Cyrus James conversation say we are trying to keep him fit and then. The right back Augusto can play, Champo can play. But Mr. Sa didn't know about Caicedo because that midfield partnership between Caicedo and Lavia. Now how can you do that? And no me expecting is a time when Nicolas Jackson prime. You could switch to a 4-3-3 formation to keep.
You are saying sir, only plan and answer. You are saying sir, on
he doesn't want to change what he's doing.
At the end of the first season here. If you don't do what you know, if you don't practice what you know your first season, how do you twist? How do you
twitch when there are problems? Intino unya problema so that your opponent doesn't outsmart you. And then unim say send about your Newcastle game we. If there were 10 games more to go, Chelsea wouldn't have won even 3 out.
How?
Because at the how Emomote say you can outsmart them this way. And against United, send an officer and take us is an easy game for Chelsea. No.
How many teams?
Ruben Amorim
and
caught with this same Newcastle.
How many teams now call St James Park? How many teams now call St James Park?
Bournemouth Kosher Newcastle 4-0 was St James Park. So Chelsea and Bournemouth are not better than Chelsea.
Bournemouth are better than Chelsea. United no Arsenal mo no ko
their teams omutimi ko wini. Now no Newcastle are paving way bi. Wama Amorim and Phillips say if you go with a 3-back and pin their wingers, you will stop them from playing. In Tisenane can say United will be an easy game for Chelsea. No, it wouldn't be an easy game for Chelsea. And that is when I hear Chelsea fans, no, you the pressure Barber to say Nicolas Jackson free team na team. But as a coach, you need to twitch. You need to
on twisted then. Okwa di red card. Okwa ko de sakwa ko bobi. Na wona yetua oka no. Yetua oka say team na ye build no. Yetua oka say brabe bobo. Odo sakwa ko bowe. Na say coach no ye den use different player use exercise niama just so obekọ na so okono okoko struggle yem blame coach ni because ono no man Nicolas Jackson na wa build the team around no ono na man could this reckless red card
man could as a coach say ultimi what plan me against United. I'm not expecting to see a 4-2-3-1 formation with defense and Pedro Neto or Derek George ahead of the line. There be Mfa Onuonim and Nicolas Jackson going out.
The same into Omohana.
This is when we want to see Enzo Maresca coming with a new plan to outsmart some of the teams. To me, say Ubisamia, he wants to use that pairing between Lavia, Enzo Fernandez, Caicedo. This is the time. Try a 4-3-3 befa. This Chelsea team Kopama.
Why Nigeria striking?
Ubetima boy force 9. Betima boy force 9 Pedro Neto.
Nanyo the same thing. Anya the same thing.
It's different from a 4-2-3-1 system. These are two different systems. They are variations.
No, I said Enzo Maresca on 4-2-3-1.
On 4-2-3-1.
On 4-2-3-1. Me say on 4-2-3-1.
Listen.
On 4-2-3-1.
Say
when without the ball. Our two systems are all in one game. On the ball, our system are all. And off the ball, our system are there.
On formation
on the
wise,
ball, our about three.
On formation wise, about 4-2-3-1 on paper. With the ball, Chelsea ball 4-1-4-1.
There before me 4-2-3-1. Arrange the team na me had there.
4-2-3-1. Oboseni who on paper no. Caicedo started at right back. Enzo Fernandez ne Lavia and the ball as the double pivot. Then Kopama Jidomenim with Madueke and Neto and Jackson. But now with the ball, Chelsea ball 4-1-4-1. Meaning say Enzo Fernandez will move from Lavia and now join attack.
More 4-1-4-1.
Say no but double 10 Enzo.
There be on 4-1-4-1. Say on the ball on the ball. About 3 on the ball.
Let me explain you 4-1-4-1 Americano. Chelsea could have ball now. That is when Caicedo eba join Lavia. In Sena who can say it switch to a 3 no.
Yes.
And no beam. But on paper a 4-2-3-1. That is what I'm telling you. Say Siano, if he wants to have that,
it is about 4-3-3 now.
Yes.
What
about 4-3-3
on the ball better than off the ball.
About 4-3-3 now. Adia says your and say with the likes of regimes, the ability of regimes one. And if Kopama is to start on the right wing, Kopama can come in as they have space 10 or penal. With Enzo still joining, with Lavia and Caicedo still being the pivot no penal. Now Rhys James can go up front. Aquako Abbo to say a wing back. No, I'm joining with the crosses.
You still have that trade. You injury situation.
You can try Gusto. Gusto was very good in that position. You can have that trade send your opener. But on person yes I change, you know.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure in the games and I am a boss man. Yeah, you know.
Yes, I think some crucial games, especially for some of the teams. So Oshe in the Serie A, AS Roma, I think Ranieri, Basso coming into the team. That team they struggle and they with a win for them, no, they can get into that Champions League spot. Or just 1 point. Juventus are panel with just 1 point. So with a win, Obeko 66 they get into that Champions League spot. And now the pressure bet to Atlanta so Owini sa game na meaning say they are just 2 points between on Atlanta, and Ranieri has been saying next moment the best coach in the Serie A. Maybe Antonio Conte because of winning the Liga. I think Ranieri would come out as the second. This would be one crucial game for Team Efren or Atlanta. Also to make sure that their Champions League spot is really secure. So the Serie A, Atlanta na team bia say ka say yembo both halves. It be a first half obeshe goal, second half obeshe goal, on the highest. Out of the 35 games we are born, a move 14. With me, I should go in the first half, I should go in the second half. And with AS Roma side, no, they are one teamer. Anytime they go on an away game, they surely score a goal. In Internet, it will be a very crucial game for Team Efren Atlanta. Can they continue with their first half goal, second half goal? And how would Roma also occupy this particular type of form? Roma quite aware, even though say they are scoring goals, they make sure say they try to keep a clean sheet. In Turkey away former, out of 5, a 3 with me keep a clean sheet against Inter, against Lecce, and against Empoli. In Turkey, if they can keep Atlanta at bay in the first half without them not scoring, likely say Roma beat me a goal. With this fixture, I'm not seeing a lot of goals in it because both teams may take your chances very well and they'll try to be defensively solid. And I'm tipping AS Roma to score. In tennis, I'll come MYBET.AFRICA. AS Roma to score and a handicap of 2 for AS Roma. Likely say bet me abo. Will game win with Fiorentina. Any Venezia game on but this is one fixture. It doesn't really make any change for Fiorentina. But Venezia a team, if they are to win today, they move out of the relegation zone. And it will be something it will be ringing at the back of their head going into this game. Osha and home form very poor. The last time Opiki a home win was against Moza, team on an April relegation. And their form against teams in the top halves Adebakwa Mbuano. Osha in the last 8 home games our emu 3 and produce goals. Mostly in the last emu 3 now about under 1.5. This is one fixture I'm not seeing a lot of goals in it. At least here a point to make them feel say in the remaining 2 games they can salvage something and avoid relegation. Tene Oma Fiorentina Enya an easy game. So Fiorentina, their last 2 away games, their European competition they've lost their last 2 away games, including against AS Roma. But our form against teams are on more the lower side of the league table. In Tene, they'll try to take advantage of Venezia game. This game, I would go for Fiorentina win or draw, and also under 2.5 or under 3.5 in this game. Yenshe, the last game, that is the championship playoffs Ekoso. That is Sheffield United and Bristol City. Sheffield United they can win 3-0 away, and this game is like a normal game for them. They wouldn't go into the game with a lot of strength because they know say if they are to get a goal in the first half, they've secured that qualification into that final at Wembley. Which game where the dynamics of this game mostly Sheffield United the team say a second half team goals spy or no. So meaning in their last 9 games, so team has a second half goals in all. Inti any more said the second half they can score a goal. Team Unzua a ban say second on goals in both halves. Bristol City or tired in their last game Omni Sheffield boy. That was the only game moment me and Shego in the first half. So this game they'll be trying to do the same. This game Meti pieces say MYBET.AFRICA Sheffield United straight win. And Sheffield United to qualify, and over 2.5 in this game likely say because in on my last meetings Omishiano it average at least over 2.5. It will be a good game for your friends and Sheffield United to win and also qualify ahead of team your friend Bristol City.
Okay,
yeah, at least I think that you're very witness exciting games, but then I think that the Roma and the Atlanta game, I see it to be a draw. Especially we might see over 2.5 goals in that game. We've seen how Roma has been playing this season, being unbeaten over 19 games, and Atlanta a team they can equally play a draw with Roma. So in this game I think that it's going to be an interesting game, but to be very honest, I don't see AS Roma losing this game in particular. I don't see AS Roma losing this game in particular. And Ochake, baby Atlanta da, and baby Roma da, they are all fighting for European spot. So in as much as both of the teams bear equal attack, and I think that it will be very difficult for them. Fiorentina, lastly on Fiorentina and Venezia, gamer Emubeshi. Venezia, if they are able to salvage 3 points from this game, maybe more than Edomeko baby meet me at relegation. So especially playing against teams or person more free relegation and very high. So I think the over 1.5 goals that game highly possible. Mebo na me the daily chops no, and so it's me that was so quick. Yes, and I think that the 5 selected games and the first game Al Hilal and Al Oroba in the Saudi Pro League. Okay, the first game Al Hilal and Al Oroba, a straight win and over 2.5 goals for Al Hilal in that game. Venezia Fiorentina game no, over 1.5 goals in that game. Kayserispor and Antalyaspor Turkish Super League no, over 1.5 goals in that game. Atlanta AS Roma and also a draw or over 2.5. And a Sheffield United Bristol City double chance for a Sheffield United. Code no a X2FY. X2FY.
Okay, it means me 4 odds are medema ashefoni. And a game Venezia any Florentina win or draw under 3.5. Sheffield United any Bristol City. Sheffield United win or draw second half 0.5. And Antalyaspor onunsu game or ball onunsu 1.5 euro. And Maccabi Haifa or boy ne onunsu 1.5 euro. And AS Roma near Atlanta, AS Roma to score. Code no a V2FY. V2FY.
Okay, Al Hilal ne Al Oraba over 2.5. Fiorentina away go. Bodo Glimt away win. Kayserispor ne Antalyaspor over 1.5. Hapoel Beersheva and Maccabi Haifa. Maccabi Haifa handicap 2. Handicap 3. Maccabi Netanya and Maccabi Tel Aviv over 1.5. Al Kadu Club and Al Nassr Club to score 2. Granada ne Eibar. Granada home win or draw. Atlanta ne Roma under 4.5. Raja Casablanca and SCC Mohammedia and Raja Casablanca away win. Sheffield United and Bristol City. Sheffield United win or draw. And Santos and Serra SC and Santos under 4.5. Until we so me games no. Nyame adoma ochina. Ye betina se na afi bibia so etumi akoyi. Me den the list o out